Even though we hear sad news and see a lot of negativity every day, we should remember that there are still many kind people in the world. Today, I'm going to share a story that shows how selfless good deeds not only make the world a better place and bring happiness, but they can also bring more kindness and even save lives. This is exactly what happened to a resident of China, Chang, who came to the aid of a little girl named Tan Lin when she was in a difficult situation, having no clue that many years later, fate would bring them together again. Little Lin was born into a very poor family in the Chinese province of Sichuan. Her father was disabled, and her mother often became seriously ill. That's why she had to help her parents all the time since her very childhood, even taking on the responsibility of caring for her two younger sisters. The family somehow managed to make ends meet. But then something terrible happened. In 2006, the family lost their home in a terrifying earthquake. They had to move in with their neighbors because they couldn't afford to buy a new house. Despite all that happened, Lin didn't despair and studied diligently to fulfill her dream of going to university. Somehow, the girl managed to remain friendly despite all her problems. Once, on an ordinary day, she met a man named Chang, a farmer who helped victims of the earthquake. It is worth noting that Chang grew up in the family of a poor farmer and thus could relate to all the hardships of the girl's life from first-hand experience. After hearing her story, seeing her living conditions, and the amount of work she had to deal with every day, he wanted to help the poor girl. So he gave her his phone number and asked her to call him when she graduated from school. One could probably think that those were just empty promises, but since Lin had no other choice, she did call Chang. Several years had passed, and of course, she didn't expect the man to remember what he had said, but she was pleasantly surprised that he actually did. After graduation, Lin decided to call the number she had kept all these years. Amazingly, the kind farmer not only remembered her, but even told her to apply to medical school. It was like a dream come true for the poor girl. Chang not only helped her get into university, but even paid for her first year, which was $1,000. In addition, this man she barely knew kept sending the girl a certain amount of spending money, and later he even paid for her sister's education. It was hard for Lin to believe that this was actually happening, that a stranger could do something this incredible, especially since Chang wasn't some kind of millionaire. His income was just above average, but it didn't prevent him from doing good. So years later, Lin was actually comfortable and happy. But as it often happens in life, years went by, and the two lost touch. Chang continued to work on his farm from dusk till dawn, and we have no idea how many people he helped during this time. However, years took their toll on his health, and one day, when it seemed that nothing could go wrong, the man suddenly lost consciousness during dinner. The ambulance arrived and urgently took the man to the hospital. The doctors diagnosed him with a brain aneurysm. The situation was very scary and even life-threatening. However, he was treated like a very important patient the entire time. The man was surprised when, a day later, he was transferred to a separate ward and received special care. The best doctors arrived at the hospital to check on him. He was truly shocked by all the attention. The medications were expensive, and so were all the procedures he had to go through. But when Chang asked about the cost, the doctors only told him not to worry about it. Soon, the man received all the necessary medical care, which helped him avoid complications and grave consequences. Most incredibly, Chang got better even without surgery, which is usually performed in similar cases. This was a miracle, to say the least. However, the most interesting part was yet to come. A little while after he got better, the door to his room opened, and a young woman came in. She came over to Chang and hugged him. The man was confused for a split second, but he quickly realized who was in front of him. Well, guys, I think you've already understood that it was the very same Lin. As it turned out, the girl got married and was working at that hospital. Learning by chance that Chang had been admitted, she used all her knowledge and skills to help her old acquaintance. Together with her husband, they took care of his documents and paid for the treatment. Moreover, she used her personal connections and thanks to Lin's efforts, Chang recovered very quickly. However, the most incredible part of this story is that Chang truly needed help at that time. His farm had been suffering significant losses, leading him into debt. As he later admitted, "I certainly would not have been able to afford the treatment at the hospital." After the incident, Lin's and Chang's families decided to stay in touch, and now they visit each other on weekends and holidays. What an amazing turn of events. The man who sent a poor girl to medical school was saved by her 12 years later. This story beautifully illustrates that good deeds do come back to you. Maybe not the next day, maybe not even in 11 years, but eventually, they certainly will. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like it. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.